Hello, friends, and welcome to a fall garden tour. While things are definitely slowing down here on the homestead, there is still much to do in the garden and projects in preparation for next year's garden. So, let me take you around and show you what I've got going on. So we live in zone 7B, so a lot of the herbs and plants can overwinter here. Some of those things include sage and rosemary, asparagus and lavender and kale even. I have some kale that's been here for over a year now because it will overwinter. So even though I have lots of different varieties of kale and broccoli and cabbages and things, most of those things I will still go ahead and take out of the ground once we are done harvesting from them. My favorite, of course, going on right now is Napa cabbage. I'm about to start making some kimchi. It is our family's favorite way to preserve Napa cabbage. If you haven't tried making kimchi, I highly recommend it. I do have a purple variety that is not doing so well. It is getting eaten up by the bugs and it's just growing a lot slower. So I don't think I will be doing this purple variety of Napa cabbage next year. I do have lots of storage cabbage though, so to make sauerkraut, bok choy is always a good one. We are loving the stir fries right now with all of these different greens, especially with things like sausage or like a sauce, like an Asian sauce. Greens are always a go-to in stir fries or soups. So we've got some elderberries, the last harvest of elderberries that will be coming up as well, which is nice. And this is some of that kale that's been here for over a year. So I've just kept it in the ground just for fun. I mainly just pick that for the chickens. And you can still see there's a lot going on, asparagus, and I have to brag about this blackberry plant. We've got a couple of the Primocane 45 varieties, and I cannot recommend these enough. If you're not aware, the Primocane varieties came out in 2009 from the University of Arkansas, and they are the first Primocane variety of berries. Not only do you get fruit off the first year, okay, this plant produced fruit since June, and it's its first year, its first summer in the garden, and it has been producing since June. It's amazing. And not only do you get a first year harvest from these plants, but you also get two harvests. So you get one in the fall, which comes at the end of the canes, as well as in the spring on the lower parts of the canes. So you actually get two harvests from these Primocane varieties. I highly recommend you look into these blackberry plants. They have been phenomenal in the garden. I can't recommend them enough. So this was the summer garden. You can see I've already taken down a lot. I've let a lot just go to the bees, like the basil back there and these beans and a lot of things the bees can still get a lot of benefit from. So I've left whatever I can for them. I've still got the peppers going on. Of course, they are slowly starting to die. I just harvested about 10 to 15 pounds of peppers off of these plants, and there's still a lot more on here that will continue to grow for the next week or so. Our first frost isn't for another couple of weeks, so they will last until then. And I also have another bed here in the summer garden of cabbage and cauliflower. This was a bed that has produced so much this year. At first it was cucumbers and then it was potatoes. You can see there's some potato seeds starting to sprout that I need to pull out. But because it's been such a heavy cropped area, I have also planted some crimson clover in here that you can see sprouting up just to help replenish the nitrogen into this bed. And we heavily mulch twice a year, I would say, in the fall and the spring. And so we're working on getting more mulch into the garden, not just the pathways, but also around the perennials as well. And fall is a perfect time to begin projects that we otherwise don't have time for in the summer. So one of those projects is expanding our garden. We are creating 3 to 4 more garden beds. If you haven't seen our video on how we do that, I will leave it here for you to check out if you so wish. So we are getting more beds created in preparation for next year. And if you haven't started already, now is a great time to start making your own compost, again in preparation for next year so that it has plenty of time to sit, decompose, and get all those worms and get everything nice and prepared for next spring. Dry leaves are a beautiful food for worms, so if you, at the very least, you could start collecting dried leaves and putting them in piles in preparation to fill your beds with fresh food for those worms to help replenish the beds that have provided you with abundance over the last few months. I hope you guys enjoyed that little look into our garden. I will see you guys next time.